don't know what's going on. They changed everything, all the buttons on here, and I guess we're gonna just go live and have no intro. So on a new day at a new time. Hey everybody, how's everybody doing?
Good.
Anna, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, what have you got for us today?
Let's see. We're moving the office. All the office stuff is going into storage while we look for a new bivouac in Anchorage. And it's a huge undertaking, absolutely huge. 3 large storage units, over $1,100 a month just for the new storage units.
Wow.
Yeah. And people ask me, well, can't you find something cheaper? Can't you put it on your property as a Connex? And I understand where they're coming from. I really do. But we've already considered all the options, and really, we need dry heated storage in Alaska.
Right.
And we don't. We've even considered buying another house, or buying
or buying Harold's house. I know. I was wondering what you thought about that.
But the house is listed at $864, so it's not an inexpensive proposition.
Right.
And I'm not sure that it was ever ideal in terms of being a facility. So we might be better off looking at buying a different house, in a good location that had a different floor plan, because Harold's place was a split level, and you had to walk up and down and sideways all the way around all the time. So that was part of the reason he decided to sell it, because he developed mobility issues, and it was difficult for him to navigate the stairs safely. And so when you have all those stairs and all those multiple levels, it makes it difficult to haul things around like file cabinets too,
Sure.
desks, computers,
You said the demographics of the Federation is on the higher side of the age spectrum too, and that's not good for that. So
right. So what I'm looking for is something more modern. Still need large floor space, all taken together. I think he said his total floor space was something like 6,000 square feet.
Wow.
And of course, not all of that was office, but still large house.
Yeah.
Sure.
And so anyway, we need something that's flatter and more modern. The house was built in something like 1969 or something like that. And back then, they were not planning on the kind of technologies that we have now.
Sure.
The place had to be basically rewired when we moved in, because we needed the competence of all the different computers and archiving and scanners, and so it's gotten some decent upgrades as rent, but otherwise we haven't had to pay rent for it or a mortgage on it, and that was a good deal for everybody concerned. He got his maintenance done, and we got the office space. But anyway, it's another challenge. Getting Jim back on his feet, that's another challenge. Getting Harold back on his feet, another challenge. And I'm still picking up their work and mine, plus taking care of them and moving the office and trying to keep up with all the different schemes and plots and idiocy going on in DC and environs.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
Well, and they keep your mouth full, don't they? They're just relentless. They're just like
I feel like a hamster on a treadmill, Just go from one thing to another. Probably.
Well, articles have been fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, fantastic.
I haven't lost my mind yet.
No.
I don't know how, but I mean, and praise you for it, because it's been really, really good. All the reading. So we've been doing a lot of the reading, Anna. Good. And even last week when you weren't with me, and Greg was also, I mean, both of y'all are going crazy with different things. Then we were reading your notice that you gave for the attorneys. And just going over that. And I mean, there's plenty of stuff to study. So I hope we did a decent job with our discussion there. I wanted to show everybody what Anna's real job is. And like, what does she do? This is what she does. She's writing. And it's pretty fantastic.
Well, we have to write it. We have to organize it. We have to do it. Then we have to report back to the people what we're doing and explain what we're doing. Then we have to take all the flack for what we're doing and all the flack for what we're not doing. And that's kind of how it rolls.
Yeah.
So
thankless job.
As for the not doing, I put up the Neathy Valley Challenge. If we're not doing it, hop to it, folks. Neathy just saw a need and stuck her oar in the water. And really, this is what we all need to do is, if you see a need and it's something that you can address in some way, maybe not totally, but if you can, grab a mouthful of the elephant and start chewing.
Yeah. I mean, you're not going to know what you're doing. I certainly don't think that I know what I'm doing, but you don't know what the water feels like till you jump in the pool. And then the good thing is that we all get to talk to each other and say, what do you think about this? I don't know.
Well, and you start doing something and immediately you'll be questioned on it. You'll find resources to double check what's going forward. And some people are going to like it. Some people are going to fear it. Some people are going to go gung-ho and, oh, I'm so happy you did this. Mm-hmm. And I'm one of those of the people that said, I'm so happy you did this, because there was a need. Especially, I think we have huge, huge sectors of public interest that are opening up. And one of them is the issue of our land ownership and deconstructing the British title system and their phony state trust system that has been used to basically set up a system whereby foreign interests have claimed an ownership interest in our land assets, which is totally, completely bogus, unearned. And, has to come to an end. So, plotting out the ways and means by which we are claiming back our property interests, and especially our land assets, is very important. It's something that we continue to be very concerned about, and it's going to affect millions of Americans. We have to, especially, I think, and you, Neathy, are the one that kind of sounded the alarm and said, what about our farmland? What about our basis for growing food? And what about the quality of the land that's growing our food? That's been polluted by all these things like chemtrails and sludge and
it's very easy too for everybody to get sucked up in all of those realms of toxins and like just be paralyzed, and we can't allow that to happen. We can't allow ourselves to just be completely paralyzed with that. And we have to have faith and belief. And I really, really loved your recent article, Anna, where you are explaining that the earth is alive and it is currently birthing. Oh my God, I was just crying because it was beautifully written and expressed. And it's so true. This is what I'm saying all the time. Like, nature's got this figured out. And people have got to stop interfering with it and trust it. And the interference is what actually causes most of the problems. But hey, when I was reading your article, then I was envisioning, Mother Earth going, look, kids, enough. Get off of me. Stop it. You know how mama, when all the babies pile on and they want mama, and mama's like, whoa, stop, hold on. And I could just, that was what it felt like when I was reading it. And I just, I really read it and thought about it and spoke it out loud because I just wanted it to be the new reality, you know? And so I just kind of meditated on it. I wanted you to know it was powerful.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, people need to be thinking of the earth in terms of it being a living entity, because it is.
It is.
And all of its parts and organs have to function no less than our bodies.
Right.
You know, and if we're not taking care of ourselves and we're not taking care of the earth, guess what?
Yeah.
You know, and people also need to stop thinking in terms of consumerism. They need to start thinking in terms of what's important. Well, you know, life is important. Consciousness is important. Being part of a community has proven in many, many studies, just being part of a community where you're cared about and known and accepted and part of is extremely important to our happiness and our mental and emotional well-being. Okay. Having access to good education, having access to things like music and books and entertainment that keeps us engaged, even when we're sick, even when we're elderly. You know, and the environment, every aspect of the environment, clean air, clean water, clean soil, good food. You know, these are the things that are important.
Right. Well, and the universe has infinite intelligence, and that infinite intelligence is constantly fighting for life, and it's operating in love. And you know, I mean, I realize that this is a lot of people have all these false beliefs because they have been trained by the corporatocracy to, you know, hate themselves and to just basically self-destruct. Meanwhile, Mother Nature, you know, our earth is fighting for our lives. And right now we're moving on to this new earth, this new birthing of the new earth. And all of this evil is not going to make it. It's washing away. It is circling the drain.
Yeah.
Well, and it has to.
Yes.
But what I call it is mindlessness.
Yep.
You know, and these people know not what they do.
Absolutely.
You know, if they knew what they were doing to themselves, they wouldn't do it, right? They think that they're doing it to somebody else.
Right.
They think that they're, you know, edging out their competitor. They think that they're, you know, making extra bucks by throwing away their industrial waste and forcing the public to clean up on it. But they're actually doing it to themselves. They're doing it to their own families. They're, you know, they're just clueless.
Yeah.
They're zombies is the way I like to look at it.
They're literally blocking it out. And it is the zombie apocalypse, you know, and it is so much more and more blatantly obvious right now. And, you know, when you listen, Anna, there are young people out there saying transhumanism would be better so we can handle all of the, you know, damaging. They think nature is just only destructive. And I'm
nature is the threat.
Right. And I'm like, okay, I think that you don't have the full picture. Okay. Yeah. And yes, if you are going to be a dipstick in the ocean, you know, of pressure, then there's going to be a reaction and you're going to think it's nature. No, if you comprehend, you know, physics, I mean, I guess it's all quantum physics and magnetism, but they don't really understand that. And they don't understand the sacred geometry.
Water, and magnetism. Light, water, magnetism. That's all it takes.
Right. And Jesus even says that once you comprehend magnetism, and we're not talking about from a religious perspective for all the people that are really confused about that, because there's a corporate manipulation on, you know, the knowledge of the truth, and they've created religion to divide the people, to make them fight. And you know what's happening, Anna? everybody's getting the word. But, you know, like on Africa, you know, people over there already are, you know, they have a really powerful boot on their neck. I mean, when, you know, there's a crazy military, you know, oppression going on America, but people don't really get it that over there, when they pull you over, they'll toss your car. But a lot of our people who are waking up to this, who are trying to follow this work, that, you know, you're blazing this trail, and they're trying to follow the work. One of our people over there was hit by a car deliberately, and you know, I was speaking with her, and I was saying, look, we got to be really careful. We have to be vigilant. We have to know that we can't leave anyone behind, because if we allow anyone to be enslaved, then we allow everyone to be enslaved. Yep. And this is a really narrow path that we're walking, because we're freeing everybody, even the ones who are going to come and try to sabotage and be saboteurs, and also who are going to come kicking and screaming and fighting against us. Maybe until we can give them their money, because that's all these people even still right now talk about all the time, because they're so worshiping the money, and they're not realizing what they're doing. Like you say, they know not what they do. How else can we say it? Gregory, maybe you can say something. Maybe they need to hear a man say it a different kind of way.
Well, I've got a different perspective, though. I've been busy lately because I've been out on my land. And I'm taking some land, Neathy knows this, that's been farmed, monocropped, you know, in the system for decades. And I'm changing that over. I'm going to convert it back to pasture. And so this year, and there's no fence around it, so I can't put animals on it yet. So this year, I've just let it go. Let nature do what she wants. And it's amazing. I was just out on some just before I got on the call here. And I'll tell you this, nature does not take long to self-correct. People think that it does. It doesn't take very long at all. All you got to do is just back off. Leave her alone. And then see the beauty. We talk about all this. The freedom's the most important thing. The freedom to allow, you know, all these farmers can't do that. And I get that. I mean, practically, I get that, but why can't they? Debt slavery. It's that simple. It's that simple. And restrictions and licenses and statutes and policies, and I don't care about any of that.
Guess what?
I don't care about any of that. And I know
Anna's trying to tell you something. She's trying to tell us something, Gregory.
This is the best part. Because they're not the actual government, they're only government services vendors. They don't have the right to license anything.
Yeah, get out. Get out of my way.
Hey, I'm making t-shirts, Anna, that say unincorporate to deregulate.
I was talking with a fellow farmer, and this gentleman was talking about, you know, this license, that license, and whatever. And I said, why are you even asking? Why are you even asking to do what you want to do? Because what you want to do, I think, is a great idea. So why'd you even ask? Why did you ask somebody for permission? Right. And he sat there and he looked at me like a zombie.
What? We have to ask.
Yeah.
Right?
It's
stop
just
asking permission.
Yeah, stop asking for permission. If you're not causing harm.
Yeah. If you're not causing harm to anybody or anything, just go ahead and do it.
Just do it. That's right.
Good people doing good things for other good people. Why would you not just do the good thing?
That's right. Yep.
Well, you know what? I'm just really pleased with some of the recent U.S. Supreme Court rulings. I think it's the death knell of so much evil that they're finally coming forward and saying the obvious, you know, and I am not having any trouble saying the obvious either. I mean, the whole Federal Reserve System is commodity rigging and obstruction of trade. And they were licensed to do it by who? Oh, by a franchise of a British Crown corporation calling itself the United States of America Incorporated, a government services vendor that doesn't have the right or ability or the delegated power to license something that's criminal. Hello, that's like McDonald's saying that it has the power to license the use of baby flesh in their hamburgers. There's absolutely no way that they can do this, and yet they've gotten away with it because people thought they were legitimately the government, when in fact they're nothing but a government vendor.
Right.
So they've been kicked to the curb and thrown up on the rails, and they're on their way out, folks. All this stuff, the IRS, the Internal Revenue Service, bye-bye. All these oppressive agencies that we've been paying for that haven't been doing their job and that have been doing other jobs. They've been misdirected to do other things, like the FBI being tasked to surveil political candidates instead of taking care of business and actually cranking down on crimes like interstate bank fraud and counterfeiting and human trafficking. Yeah, we think we're paying the FBI to do these kinds of services and enforcements, and instead they've been the running dogs of political candidates.
Yep.
Okay. And same thing with the CIA. We think we're paying the CIA to form an intelligence network and keep our government informed of possibly anti-American activities coming at us from other countries. No, that's not what they do at all.
They're doing that to us right here.
Yeah, well, they're basically they're a rogue agency, and they should have been done away with many, many years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they've been out there on the rampage, run amok, out of control since JFK.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they need to be defunded, and all their black ops need to be defunded. And the military, they need to get out of their mercenary hat and into their actual military hat. They need to straighten up and do the right thing too, because if they don't, they're nothing but another mercenary organization engaged in illegal activity.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
Right.
It's not that I'm anti-military. It's that I'm anti-fraud and I'm anti-crime.
Oh,
Okay?
and we're for the truth. And you know what? That's the other thing about nature, Anna. It never lies.
Yep.
Right.
It's
Nature never lies. There are no lies in nature. It is what it is.
Yep.
And, the closer that we come to that in our lives, the better for us, and the better able we are to recognize falsity of all kinds.
Yep.
I keep telling people, they look at me and they say, well, how did you learn all this stuff? How could you recognize that wasn't true?
Mm-hmm.
It's because I made the commitment many years ago to tell the truth, come what may. And so when you do that, it kind of realigns your perception so that you can suddenly see all of the things that are going on around you that are just obviously false.
Right. And it's interesting because people are very uncomfortable with the truth because they're so trained into lying. And then, I've been getting yelled at a lot, Anna, because I keep telling everybody, I'm like, being polite like that is not true. It's rude and it's a lie. And they're taking it all the wrong way. But nature is just honest about how it feels. Look at. I bet Anna's got some real natural truth speaking. Somebody's right there.
Yep.
Look at that.
Boy, looky there. Yep.
This is not only a very truthful animal in all respects, but a very loyal animal.
Yep.
Right.
She does not let me go into my office or the bathroom or anywhere without her being right there to make sure that I'm doing the right thing at all times.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
Yes. Just in case you were wondering what was going on here.
Well, just like with the land that's been held back, and restricted. And then you turn it loose and nature blossoms, basically, literally blossoms. Everything that we do as living men and living women that's going to be the same way as we're peeling off all these things. And it's hard to see, and it's not going to happen maybe overnight, but it's going to blossom. It'll take time, and this will have to happen and that'll have to happen, but I think it'll really blossom and allow us to get back to what you were saying, Anna. Allow us to get back to having communities, and allow us to get back. We just had our town festival here a few weeks ago. I don't know, 130th anniversary town festival, and it's so much fun to do that, especially in a small community, to gather together and just make. Some people you see every day, but some people you see once a year, or twice a year, or whatever, because they've moved away and they've come back, and it's very, very rewarding and it's very fulfilling. And we need to get back to that more and more because, in most cases, people don't even know their neighbors, I suspect.
Well, and the thing is, there have been all of these psychological studies on happiness, and having that community, being a known part of a community, and belonging, a sense of belonging, is so intrinsic and so fundamental to our happiness and fulfillment in life.
Yep.
And yet it's been totally gainsaid and ignored.
Yep.
It hasn't even been in the realm of consideration that, we have a fundamental need for each other.
Yep.
And yet the DARPA monsters took advantage of that during the COVID pandemic by creating all these artificial, separations, like the useless masks.
Yep.
I heard that. I was in disbelief, of course, because I knew that, trying to use a cloth mask against a virus is like trying to keep mosquitoes out using a 4-inch square wire fence.
Right.
It made no sense at all, and yet here we are, millions of people wearing these ridiculous masks as if it was going to make any difference except make them sick, right?
Or make it so that, what it did was there were so many babies that were born at that time, so many small children who are not bonded with their families the way they should be, and that was one of the big missions of the corporatocracy, was to destroy the family. And that is what they did. Between the masks between young babies and just the ridiculous conversations that people had to have with their brothers and their sisters and their mothers and their uncles, and the people deciding who they're going to visit and not visit, and all the new rules for the family and all this nonsense. I mean, it was horrible. I know so many people who didn't see their loved ones for years, or oh my gosh, I know people who went to go see their parents who were in a home and their mom or their dad died, and these lunatics wouldn't allow them to get in there with their mom and dad, and they made them die alone. Yeah. Horrific. Unforgivable. Yeah. Unforgivable.
And no part of a public interest. I mean, there is absolutely nothing in our entire history where we gave them permission to do that.
Right.
No.
Ever.
Yep.
If we hadn't been so trusting, if we hadn't been so stupid, we would have wrestled those hospital administrators and doctors and, just laid them out on the floor and said, okay, boys, you're either going to play for us or you're going to not play at all.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
But we were trusting, most of us, not all of us, not me.
Not me. not me. But it was so nuts. So my father-in-law was sick at the time, and we wanted to go and protect him and advocate for him and all these things. And our mother-in-law wouldn't have it. And there were just these situations that were. It wasn't like we weren't strong enough to go up against the hospital people. But you don't want to disrespect your own mom or terrify them, because they were literally terrified. Okay, it wasn't. They actually believed that there was something to fear.
Right.
And so, that was huge, and it was, and you want to honor your mom and dad.
Yeah.
Well, did you hear that the doctor who took Big Pharma to court over smearing ivermectin and calling it a horse dewormer won?
Good.
Yeah,
what's that case law? Because we need it.
I just saw a newscast. I didn't see a report on the actual case.
Okay.
It was an interview with her, and she was basically just saying, look, they don't get the right to dictate and advise people about medical issues. That's our job as doctors. Now, that's within our pay grade. That's not the news commentators, and that's not the FDA either.
Right.
So she won.
Good.
And they had to take down all their smear stuff about ivermectin.
Good.
Well, it's kind of like this July 19th thing or whatever with the WHO. And to that I say who? But, that was my comment, because we talked about it here on our Kansas assembly, and there's several of us that had the same thought on it, and that is, that's not one of the enumerated services.
No.
That's not in their contract, period.
No.
Right.
There's a word about health.
Yeah, exactly. It says nothing about health. They have the three letters, right? A, T, and F. That's it.
Right.
And the F, is something different than they think it is. But
Right.
but health is not in there. And I realize, I think a lot of the assemblies, including the Kansas Assembly, sent a letter and all that. But in my opinion, we didn't need to do a darn thing, because that has nothing to do with me.
Greg, you're like my friend, Wild Bill Elwood. Wild Bill says,
I'm going to take that as a compliment.
Anyone named Wild Bill for a reason, right? This guy he's out there. He's, but Wild Bill says it was all fraud, so it's all null and void anyway. So, we don't even have to reply to them. We don't even have to get down and slug it out in their sandbox. All we have to do is prove that they were acting in fraud and impersonating people and offices.
Right.
And that's it. End of story. And we're right back to 1860, and we're starting over. And he's right. He's right.
Mm-hmm.
Fraud vitiates everything.
Right.
My stance on it was, well, they think they've done this.
Right.
And they're firmly convinced. I mean, they're like, people living in an illusion or a movie. And so, okay, from within their system, we take the remedy that their system provides, and we step back, and we dismantle their construction.
Mm-hmm.
And we claim it's fraud. We claim it's all fraud all the way back.
Yep.
But we do it in such a way that they have to take notice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but really, when you get right down to it, all of this is fraud. Even the money is fraud. It's all fraud.
Yep.
So it's all bound for the scrap heap of history. Yeah. And everybody is saying, "Oh no, what will we do?" Well, I'll tell you a fact that we have all our lives been accepting IOUs that aren't even negotiable instruments.
Right.
And in exchange, we've been providing actual goods and actual services.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that results in us having asset-backed prepaid credit by the gazillion load.
Yep.
Right.
So we're just going to take our prepaid credit and use that as the basis of a new economy.
Yep.
And we're also going to take back control of our actual physical assets
Yep.
So that we have control of our physical assets, not people who are pretending to be our loyal public employees.
Yep. Yep.
That's right.
And it's going to be amazing. I mean, it's going to be simply amazing.
This is really fun, Anna. Bob wants to know, where can I find real world news? Right here, Bob.
Times.
In the Sunny Times. Oh my gosh. Maybe some of it.
You know what? Of all of the different English language news publications that there are, you find the more competent news agencies in third world countries and places that you would not expect.
Because I think that the Brits actually don't believe that anyone's going to pay any attention to them.
Right.
And they left their books in their libraries in India of all this fraud. All the evidence is in those libraries over there. And I think that it's awesome. I can't wait to go back there, just specifically to go from library to library to library.
Well, that's because they so totally underestimate everyone else. They're so arrogant and prideful. They are so full of themselves. They're so superior, right? Just like the Nazis.
Right.
You know, and actually Nazism had its birth in Britain. Nobody knows that.
Right.
But anyway, they're so arrogant that they've left lots of doors open, and you know, they're such hypocrites. They spout one thing out of their mouth and then do something entirely different. But the people hearing it, they hear the good thing, and then other people do the good thing and believe in the good thing, in spite of, you know, the fact that it came from liars. And so
they've gotten away with it for so long too. That just builds confidence in themselves, I think, you know, and it just gets worse and worse over time until they get smacked down.
Well, you know what Shakespeare called them back in the 1500s, perfidious Albion, you know. But I would go, well, that's one place. But if you're talking about news sources to get sort of a better idea of what's actually going on in the whole world, you know, what's happening in China, what's happening in Canada, you know, we don't even know what's happening in our next door neighbors. Okay.
Right.
And every time that you turn around and you get some news feed about Trump, well, it's a different Trump. It's not, you know, it's an actor, and it's from a different part of the world, you know, and you're sitting there going, that's not Donald Trump. Are my eyes deceiving me? Or, you know, no, right. You are looking at body double after body double after body double, and they're deployed at the same time all over the freaking world. So you're getting a press conference in Washington, D.C., supposedly, at the same time that you're getting a live feed, supposedly, of Trump in someplace like North Korea. And at the same time, you're getting another feed of Trump attending some kind of meeting in Europe. And, you know, this is crazy crap. This is just woo-woo kind of news reporting that we're getting.
And they're all different heights. They're all different heights.
Different. And body builds. Some of them are slim. Some of them got a big pot gut.
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
I mean, and even Melania, like they have both of them, and they look crazy. Like they're not the same. They're not the same people.
Right.
Okay, so we're getting all this false information. So among those English-speaking news agencies that still exist that are relatively good and complete and actually give you news about what's happening in the world, strangely enough, the Hindustan Times.
All right. Got it.
Okay.
I mean, I know one of my cousins works there.
Well, look.
And the Times of India too. I have journalists who work at both of them actually.
Yeah, and they actually report on things like, you know, China's big industrial initiatives and China's trade policy initiatives and China's canal building initiatives and the Sino-Russian pact and how the Russians and the Chinese have encircled Israel. Finally, somebody had enough of Netanyahu, and they've encircled Israel and basically said, twitch a muscle and we're going to blow you off the face of the planet. And they have the manpower and the material and everything needed to do it. And, the public sentiment, not only in the United States, but in Europe, the real public sentiment is so decidedly against what Israel has done in Gaza. And, Israel's constant invasion of other countries. Do you realize that in the past 5 years, Israel has invaded Yemen, Iraq, Iran, Lebanon, and Gaza in 5 years? They've just been, they're like a rabid dog that's completely out of control, attacking all their neighbors and then pretending to be the victims, needing to do this for their defense, their defense.
And they're using their religionist background. Sorry, Gregory.
No. I was just going to say, I think Syria was in that too, just recently.
Yep, Syria too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they've just been attacking everybody that they can possibly attack and acting like mad dogs and committing genocide in Gaza for commercial interest. It's all about oil and commercial shipping. That's what Gaza's about. And then they try to hide that and excuse it using a false flag. MI6 goes in there and pays the supposed raiders, Hamas, to go in there and cause the incursion as an excuse. Israel lays down its border defenses mysteriously on that day. I mean, it's like 9/11 and JFK and all the other false flags and cover-ups that we've seen. And they've gone in there, they carpet bombed Gaza worse than the Dresden firebombing during World War II. And then when the rest of the world responded and people objected and they went to the UN and they pounded their fists on the desk, Israel's reply was to go in there and carpet bomb it a second time. So there was absolutely nothing left.
It's just sickening.
It's sickening. Yeah.
It's sickening.
Yes, it is. And it's also sickening that they're spending billions and billions and billions of dollars and leaving their own people to starve.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you seen the commercials with, here's this frail 90-some-year-old woman who's a widow of a concentration camp victim who can't afford heat for her house or food, and they're asking us to give donations, and they're spending billions of dollars on
killing and murdering, and it's just enough is enough. Okay, enough is enough.
And I'm sitting there, I'm cheering on Russia and China. I'm sitting there, about time somebody got their hackles up and went, that's as far as you're going, little shit.
Yeah.
What do we know about China right now, Anna? Like you were saying, like, is it vacant? Are there people there? Like, what is happening?
We do not know for sure. We know that China is suddenly putting the pedal to the metal and building some huge construction projects. And they may be sucking people out of the cities to build these construction projects. But, we really don't know. We do know that major metropolitan areas have been significantly drained of their population. And, the satellite coverage that we have of China is not altogether reliable either. So it's not like we can just kind of poke our nose over the horizon and see where all the Chinese have aggregated. But a good many of them are in the Middle East right now, backing up Russia and Iran against Israel. And really, this whole rampage of violence that Israel has engaged in under Netanyahu needs to be answered by the Israeli people. They need to get rid of him and get rid of that entire government regime, or they're going to pay for it.
Yeah. That's right.
Okay, Anna, you got coordinator training. We got a lot of stuff going on. And I want to pop a couple of these questions up here real quick, if I can. Dorothea wants to know, can they, I think Africans can get credential cards. I mean, is there any reason they can't?
No reason.
How do they do it? Do you know?
The global family will issue a credential card for them in their country.
Do they have a way to order it or something on there?
I believe that you can request that just as part of the automated process. There should be a screen where you can just order your credential card once you've done your declaration of political status, that you're claiming your birthright as on the land and soil of whatever country, Chad, Algeria, wherever, then you can get a credential card that is your picture, your name, your address, your thumbprint, date of birth, and that lasts for 10 years.
Right.
And so, anybody anywhere can get their credential cards from Global Family. They just have to upload the information and make sure that they have all the information. They can issue the credential cards for each country in the world, just like they can set up an account for anybody anywhere in the world and keep those accounts segregated under your national heading. So, for example, you set up your Global Family Bank Master account, right? And it immediately creates all your sub-accounts for an individual. Okay, so you've got your gold and silver, your precious metals asset-backed account. You've got your prepaid credit account, and whatever other accounts that you may need. Say that you want to be a vendor, so you sign up and you have a vendor account too. Okay, but as long as they have the basic information they need to issue a ID card, a credential card, it will identify you anywhere on Earth, and it will meet all of the international requirements. And all you need to do is sign it with a copyrighted signature, right? So that nobody can make use of it a second time for some other purpose. And, you just make the little C with a circle around it and add it to your name, your signature. As long as you've got all those elements, you've met the international requirements to identify you. And nobody can complain or say that that's not proper just because it wasn't issued by one of their government vendors.
Right. Okay, so More23 says the vault is closing. Does that mean prepaid credit and prosperity cards are coming? Our assembly needs funds to push forward our work, and I'd love to help my family and community. Any update?
Well, the vault closing does indicate that something else is coming, and yes, that is what it means. It means that the system is going live and kicking in. Now, a lot of people somehow thought that I said that it was closing on August 1st. No, that wasn't my intention. I'm just letting everybody know that the opportunity is passing you by, and if you don't do it before the Federal Reserve note is dead, and there's a final accounting on the Federal Reserve note, you won't be able to go back, a year from now or 2 years from now and put money in the vault and think that you're going to get a 1-to-1 exchange rate, because that exchange rate will die with the Federal Reserve note.
Yep.
And once the Federal Reserve note is outlawed, which is it's an absolute necessity, okay?
Right.
Once that happens, not only will Federal Reserve notes be worthless in the marketplace, but you won't be able to exchange them for anything. And this is the only show in town that will guarantee you to make up your loss, the loss of the value of your currency from 1913 to 1925 or 2025.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is the only thing I know of anywhere that any government has done for average people to help them recoup that loss in buying power, which was caused by the constant inflation of the Federal Reserve note pegged against the U.S. silver dollar in all those years.
So I'll just say I heard your discussion about the vault the other day, Anna, and I reached out to GFG because I want to make another transaction through my trust account, and I'm coordinating with them. And because I was concerned, I said, "Do I need to get this money wired over?" Yesterday was when I was talking to them, and they said, "No, we'll let you know. It's still open." And so I'm coordinating with them now. But it's exact reason why you just said. I know this thing is going to go away. I know this, that it needs to go away. It has to go away. Right. I know that. And I also know this is the most extraordinary thing that like you said, that it's a no-brainer. If I'm not telling people to take everything they have and do it, I'm not saying that at all. That's not what I'm saying. But if you have some that you could do without, it's a no-brainer for me. So
right. And people ask me if I have any money in the vault. No, I don't have any money in the vault because I have no money.
You've put all your money into what you're doing.
Right.
Right.
I've been investing in pushing the rock up the hill ever since 1998.
Well, I would argue that's worth far, far, far more than the exchange I'm going to get, because your return on that for all of us is immeasurable. So that was absolutely the right thing to do.
Yeah. I mean, we're all doing that with you, Anna. Okay.
Yeah.
We're doing it with you because you're not alone. And actually we're very happy to have this purpose. The biggest gift is out there. There's so many young people right now who think that they're supposed to have some other purpose, or they don't have a purpose, or this world is dumb because they don't know what the purpose is. And right. you've made it real plain and clear, the truth of the purpose. And I mean, I think that it takes some people a lot longer to really be able to get it because they can't unlearn fast enough, like, the lies. But I know, even with just the aspect of just the food part, like it took so many people 5-10 years, and then they go, "Oh my God, hey Neathy, did you know that raw milk is good for you?" And I'm like, yeah, I've only been saying that for 10 years, 15, 20 years, every time. And it's so funny. I was like, remember I told you that like 15 years ago, but like, oh, welcome, and like you hear it every single week for the last 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and you just realized it. So, I mean, look, everybody's on a different frequency of how often they intersect with reality, but it's all getting there. And we really, really appreciate that gift that you've given everyone, and that you keep shining that light on it. It's been a really big deal. But I want to clarify this also. Alice is saying Global's credit card is only going to be virtual from here on out. There's all this big argument, Anna. It's going to be a card coming out. It's going to be virtual. It's only going to be a QR code. It's going to be digital. Please, can you clear that up for everybody?
Look, folks, we had to come up with a solution that was going to be applicable anywhere on Earth for anybody, that couldn't be attached unduly to a piece of plastic or a telephone. Okay? So what they have is an app that you'll be able to have on your telephone. And that app will generate the QR codes that you need to buy things. Okay? And it will be as simple as what you now do with your credit cards. Now, over time, we'll get credit cards issued, and there'll be prepaid credit cards, okay? But that's going to take time, and we don't have time. This system is going to blow. So we had to come up with something that was faster, quicker, more universal, something that could be put into actual action now. And so we also have the QRC code capability in a phone app. So anybody who has a phone, you're golden. If you don't have a phone and you have somebody else's permission, you can get a line attached to their phone and use that just as well. If mom has a phone. One of the problems that we have is people want to get accounts and cards for their kids. Well, strictly speaking, in the land and soil jurisdiction, children aren't of age until they're 21. They can sign up, but they can't have control of their money until they're 21. Okay. They can get an ID card as under the name of their guardian, their parents, or their actual guardian until they're of age, right? But we don't. Eventually, they'll all have their accounts, and eventually it'll all get caught up and accounted for. But right now, the big thrust is to get all the adults signed up with their ability to access, and then they are expected to take care of their kids. I mean, if you've only got so much time and you've only got so many resources, and you're driving toward making sure everybody's fed and sheltered and warm, that you pay attention to getting the grown-ups their cards first, and getting their QRC codes, getting their accounts first. That doesn't mean that the kids won't get stipends. It doesn't mean that the kids won't have ID cards or anything like that. It just means the focus is on the adults at this point. So
I think what a lot of people think about, Anna, is that there's a lot of separated families. And so, like a father who is declared and the mother's not declared, and then they share custody, and he wants to make sure his son or daughter has access, and he currently might have a credit card in their name for them that mom isn't supposed to use because it's ridiculous, but maybe that's an issue. Those are the kind of things that they're caught up with. And I think that hopefully there's going to be kind of a stepping out thing, isn't it? It's not like the central banks are going away 100% or anything like that. It's going to be that it's the bilateral banking system, and there's going to be these different banking systems. Is this true? Right?
Well, I don't think that the maritime banks are ultimately all going to disappear, but a great many of them will be lawfully converted.
Right.
Right. And so the maritime banks will be dealing with maritime contracts, real ones, instead of phony maritime contracts. And they'll be dealing with actual assets instead of, phony assets. They'll have to deal with prepaid credit that's already been earned.
Right.
They won't be making their money off of usury, selling somebody's credit back to them.
Right.
Right. So a lot of these schemes are going to go away, and a lot of institutions are going to undergo a change in jurisdiction and management, for sure. But we're looking at this in terms of a safety net. We're looking at it in terms of getting the most relief out to as many people as possible in as many places on Earth as possible, so that we don't have mass starvation, we don't have mass panic, we don't have disasters that are preventable.
Right.
And,
right. So that makes everybody responsible for their neighbors and their communities.
Yep, exactly.
Right. Everybody that has a card will have the moral duty to be there and help take care of people who are just, slower waking up and don't have the capability of accessing credit or prepaid credit as it stands.
Right. Outlaws Game Room, whoever this is saying they tried to log into Global and they're locked out and they're using the right login and password. And you know what's interesting? I've heard this from at least 5 people that I know. And I mean, that I just happen to know who they are. I wonder if they're having like some glitchy issues or something as they're doing this. And I don't know if you're aware of it. But
well, if you don't check in every week or so, then at a certain point, the account will trigger as dormant.
Okay.
So, you probably just didn't check into your account in any time in the last 6 months or something, just suddenly decide, I'm going to check in today. And it flagged it and said, hey, this account hasn't been checked in 6 months. And it will just automatically shut down and you'll have to get it reset.
So I wonder if they can email. They should probably just email them and just say, SOS, I didn't know I was supposed to be logging in. And I wasn't doing it out,
Yeah, it's a pain in the butt. But if you can see why, because if you're not regularly checking in on your account, number one, you don't know when you receive disbursements. Number two, you don't know who's online as a vendor, which is another important part. We need to be supporting our vendors because these are the people that support us. And if you're looking for a way to trade using
Hey, Alice over here is saying they got to clear their cache, I think is what she means, to fix it. And Alice, if I'm saying that wrong, then say something else so we can know what the actual truth is. Because if all they got to do is clear their cache, that'll be great. We can tell some people to fix it because I know definitely just 5 people I know said the same thing. So if that can fix it, that's awesome. We can help a bunch of people.
Yeah. So anyway, guys, don't forget our vendors. If you want to trade AFD, they're ready to trade AFD for the goods and services that they provide.
How do we find them? Because I'm a vendor on there, but I don't know how to. I don't even know how to use my own vendor account, actually.
Well, I guess I'm going to have to flag Hunter down and tell him he needs to do some footwork to get the vendor system out because there is an entire vendor system.
Yeah, I've got an account.
Yeah. I mean, I want to use it. I will be.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
I would love to use it. So, if there's a way to use it, I want to use it.
Yep, I agree.
So we start trading our own AFDs for goods and services, and there's no reason why not to. I mean, otherwise you're just stuck using the same old worthless crap.
IOUs, yeah.
Right.
An AFD is basically gold. I mean, that's effectively what an AFD is gold, 1/10 of an ounce, right?
Right.
So why would you not want to accept that versus a worthless piece of paper?
I want to use it, but I have to also cover it until I can actually use it.
Well, there's a transition.
That's a different problem, but
Yeah, that's called that's the commerce term called cash flow.
Yeah, I need cash flow. But if you're actually producing it on your own farm by yourself and you don't need that cash flow.
Yeah, right. You're not turning the product. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you can do probably about as much as you can do for barter in that way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I have some people who I do actually barter exchanges with that I can do that with. So that would be wonderful. And one last thing, Callie Michelson wants to know, you said something about August 1st, and then you said early August.
Anytime after August, 1st.
Okay, so she doesn't really know.
We don't have an exact date for the closure because we don't know for sure when the Federal Reserve note is going bye-bye.
Ah.
If you think about it, realize that the value of the AFD goes up and down every day.
Mm-hmm.
Every day a new value is posted. Today it's 329.19. So
Yep.
It's that's what it would trade at and close out at if the FRN went away today. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But every day it's different. Tomorrow it might be more, tomorrow it might be less. And it's going to be on the day that the FRN goes bye-bye, whatever the exchange rate for gold is on that day, you will get 1/10 of an ounce for every FRN that you put in the vault.
But let's just make this plain and clear. AFDs can't convert to FRNs. They can only convert to actual, like, the dollar, like the silver dollar.
Or
because you can't convert gold to a reserve note, right, Anna?
We can, Americans can, but we have to convert it into silver before we can make that conversion.
Well, what I'm saying is a lot of folks aren't comprehending that you can't lawfully convert those fake FRNs, versus like the American, like the dollar, like the actual silver dollar.
You can convert AFD into actual silver dollars because there is a known amount of an ounce of silver and a known amount for an ounce of gold, right?
Right.
And the reason that the Federal Reserve note ever even became the world reserve currency is that we are the only ones that have that connection, that exchange rate between the fiat world and the asset-backed world. We're the only
because of the silver dollar.
Right, because it is pegged against the US dollar, the United States silver dollar.
Yeah, so USD, FRN, and AFD are 3 items.
Yep.
But a lot of people, I'm saying to you, Anna, don't know that. They think the FRN and the USD is interchangeable.
No.
That's what I'm asking you to make plain.
Okay, well, we have different currencies that operate in different jurisdictions. If you want to do true international trade, you need gold. And you can convert it to silver, and people will accept silver instead of gold, right? So you can do precious metals, but the traditional international monetary standard has always been gold, and it still is. Okay? So we just have to get more used to the way the actual world markets work. Americans have been in this sort of bubble where we don't have to deal with changing exchange rates. We don't have to exchange our money for some other money in order to buy some goods in a different country. Okay? And so because of that, we haven't had to deal with the issue of exchange rates. And it's because we have the portal. Now look what happens if you have an increasing debt of all these Federal Reserve notes that have been issued, right? What happens to their value against the silver dollar? Well, pretty soon you've got 300,000 Federal Reserve notes all pegged against a single silver dollar. And there's nobody out there, there's no government out there that has the authority to reissue silver dollars. So we have half a billion silver dollars, 500 million silver dollars still in circulation. Pegged against that, we have trillions of Federal Reserve notes. Okay.
Right.
So if you wanted to save the Federal Reserve note as a viable currency, what do you need to do?
Produce more silver dollars.
You need to mint silver dollars.
Right.
Lots of them. Okay.
which Anna was making sure they were doing in order to maintain something there. And that was what was that's you wrote about this also. And so there's articles about this, you guys, but you have to pay attention. You know, people here still think I don't know what I'm talking about, but I mean, I'm telling you, there's the FRN, there's the American, there's a USD,
yep.
and then there's the AFD.
Yep.
So that's the confusion. And then Anna has to go to her meeting. But look, Alice is saying that computers. What does that mean, Greg? Greg's the
basically. She's just saying, you know, when your cache will get filled up, and she's just saying basically do weekly maintenance on it. So
yeah,
dump your cache because it messes up the cookies and everything. Mess up all sorts of things with logins. So I think she's just saying be vigilant about doing that weekly. One thing I'll say though, back Anna, on your topic about silver, we talk about the Federal Reserve note going away. I believe the reason why the last straw is going to be because of silver, and it's exactly for what you just said. They can't cover it. They papered over it so long and papered over it and papered over it and papered over it. It's going to be the thing that breaks the dam. It's just a matter of when.
I think you're right that will create the crisis if something else doesn't create the crisis first.
Well, that's true.
I think the real crisis is that it's unlawful and illegal.
Well, good point. Yep.
Once people realize that it's nothing but a giant fraud scheme and that they've been defrauded, you know, how long is it going to take that message to reach everybody in the country and the world? And, you know, then it becomes, you know, it's absolutely necessary for it to go away, right?
So we need to place bets. Is it the fraud that gets it? Or is it the Ponzi scheme just falls first? Which one's going to be first?
I mean, Greg and I have been saying, Anna, you know, everybody who's like, oh, Anna is, you know, leading a cult and all this other crap. We're just like, what do you don't believe law? And that's all we say. And they don't really get what we're saying. And we're like, so you don't get law?
They don't have to believe me. They just have to open up their own eyes and observe what they're doing. Well, here's a note. Here's a Federal Reserve note. It's a promissory note drawn on what? A corporation calling itself United States of America. What corporation?
Well, the other thing, just real proof is historically the gold to silver ratio is 10 to 1, 15 to 1, meaning 1 ounce of gold would be worth 15 ounces of silver. Right now it's 100 to 1. It's never, ever, ever been there in history like it is the last however many years.
Right.
So just look at that fact right there. That proves it.
Right. Well, and silver has many more uses in industry than
exactly.
Gold.
Exactly.
So, you know, it's ultimately it's more valuable.
And I think there's a lot less of it on this rock that we live on. There's a lot less of it when you really look at it.
So silver is the, you know, if you're going to invest in precious metals, I think it's a very safe bet to invest in silver.
Yep.
And, you know, we could do a lot to assist in making this transition smoother and happier if we had cooperation from Donald Trump and his administration.
Yep.
But so far, they're just trying one desperate trick after another to keep on
the drain. Circling the drain. They're like, come on, just let us do it a little bit longer, Anna. Anna's like, there is no king of England. There's no king.
Okay, we better let you go, Anna.
I know we're gonna get the people are gonna be mad at us. We'll let you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. See you next week.
Yep.